Hello there. Today I would like to discuss in some detail, although not too long, why natural and not processed food is best for your pet. Well, many of us owning cats and dogs go for canned food or dry biscuits or kibbles as they are called. We want to give them the best, we want to keep them healthy. Now what is worrying that this multi-billion-dollar worldwide business is actually not necessarily out to keep our pets healthy, but it is, like any other business, mainly oriented on making money. Well, making money, nothing wrong with it as long as it's safe for our pets. But let's dig a little bit deeper whether this is really safe for our pets, or shall we look a little bit closer and probably change some thinking habits. Well, let's first start with what's in pet food. Well, one thing would be chemical additives. Additives that are actually not allowed in human foods are still allowed in pet foods. Why is that? Because, and I'm talking here about worldwide standards, so not about Malaysian food or Asian food, it's actually also American food, Australian food, European food. Dangerous additives, why would they be allowed in pet food if they are not allowed in human foods? Because it is a business with big lobbying capacity, and secondly, pets don't live that long. So coloring agents like our short called BTA, BHA, butylated hydroxytoluene, butylated hydroxyanisole, difficult words to remember and difficult words to say. If you see something like this that is not easy to spell, be careful. These are, for example, known to cause cancer, and these are used for colorings in pet foods. Another part, probably even more worrying, is the source of protein. Now we all know animals, our pets, are, if they are not rabbits, they are carnivores. That means they are meat eaters, protein eaters. Now let's see where are the sources, or what are the sources of protein in our pet food. That can be a worrying thing too. It is by law allowed that protein can come from roadkill. It can be crushed pigs. It can be ground up bird feathers. Why is that? Because protein is actually a chemical definition, and just reading the protein content in your pet food will not give you any clue what kind of protein this actually is. Now, crushed pigs, ground up feathers is obviously not what our animals should live off. Roadkill, dead zoo animals, also not what we wish to really feed our pets with. However, this is all according to law. As long as it is protein, as long as it's processed and doesn't contain germs, it is fit for animal consumption. Well, another part and problem part of commercial pet food is, especially if it's dry food, is the water content or the moisture content. It is for most animals too low, especially cats coming originally from the North African desert. They are not good drinkers, they are not natural drinkers, and a moisture content of 10 or below 10% is never enough to sustain the water requirements of a cat. So these cats that are fed mainly with kibbled food, with biscuit food, are by nature constantly dehydrated. And that's a major problem. That's how they develop so easily chronic kidney disease, urinary problems, even skin problems. Many problems result from low moisture content. Well, having said all that, we easily remember the just recent scandal in Europe. In supposedly beef patties we found, or the authorities found, horse meat and even donkey meat. So if this can happen to the industry aiming and targeting the human consumers, can you imagine how difficult it would be for the pet-related industry to not succumb to things like that if they are profitable? Well, having said all that about commercial foods, canned foods and dry foods, natural is obviously best. Now, why would that be? Because remember, also our pets might have been domesticated for thousands of years, 15,000 years dogs and 8,000 years around cats. They are genetically still very close to their wild ancestors, which are carnivores, animal eaters. Now, what if we want to go natural, what should we give our pets? Animals to eat. Sounds a bit gross, but that's what actually an animal eater is supposed to eat. And what are animals containing? Well, definitely muscle, which is the meat, but not only. An animal also contains bones, an animal contains organs, skin, fat. Definitely we would pluck off the feathers or the fur, but the intestinal parts, partly digested food, that's also part of it. So if you want to feed your animal a more natural diet, you have to remember to give a variety of food ingredients which resemble closely an animal. Yeah, so all parts of the animal. Having said that, be careful with bones. There is much more to be said about bones than we can do today here. Get in touch with people who are either parts of groups that do already natural feeding. That might be cooked food or that might be raw food. Both of it is all right, and not all animals actually can digest and eat raw food, but raw food would be of course the most natural one. Having said all that, get in touch with people who do that already and where you can see their animals are thriving. They must do something right. Or get in touch with a veterinarian who is not only apt in knowing or giving out information about it, but actually who walks the dog and his or her own pets, cats and dogs, are eating raw food as well. So this might be a person you can trust. Another source is of course the internet. Here you'll have to be a bit careful because there's a load of information outside. Not all of it might be fitting and befitting your pet's needs. Having said all that, the basic rule is always go slowly. If your animal has been eating commercial pet food for life, that might have been years, it's not easy to switch all of a sudden to a different kind of food. If you imagine you have been fed some biscuits for life, it will be difficult if I give you and offer you a banana. You might get gastric upset. So do it slowly, do it gradually. And if you're really not sure you can get the composition of natural food right, well, there is help for you, at least in Malaysia. We have several great companies in terms that they provide really good and healthy food and balanced food, which is raw, that can be then thawed and given raw, or if your pet prefers or you prefer, it can be heated up. If you want to know which companies these are and where to find them, contact us, contact your holistic veterinarian, and even many conventional vets will know and give you good addresses. Well, I close today with wishing you and your pet a wholesome, tastier and healthier life.